Welcome back to another episode of Franky D Crafter. I'm Franky, and I'll be showing you how to make some scattered terrain for a seaside encounter. This will be a simple craft for those DMs that love to dress up their table. And at the same time, I'll be showing you some of the tricks I use when I paint. Yeah, I'm actually painting on camera this time. We'll see how it goes. All you need is some seashells that I'm pretty sure you can find on Amazon or in a hobby store. These were super cheap. I actually picked them up while I was in Mexico. I also picked some smaller ones from the dollar store. With projects like this, variety is key. The different sizes will bring a sense of realism to an otherwise unrealistic build. Before I start crafting with them, I place them in boiling water because I'm paranoid like that. That also helps remove some of the leftover salt that might still be on them. Let's actually start this craft. We're gonna base them on clay. I still like polymorph model clay the best, so that's what I went with here. Don't worry about making it a perfect circle because I think the off shape will look more natural on the beach. Just make sure it's flat. For the bigger pieces, I go with Crayola clay. It's not as good, but I figure I shouldn't let it go to waste. I place the shell on the clay as to mark where it makes contact with the clay. I then place tacky glue where the shell left markings on the clay. I'm slowly falling in love with tacky glue. I have completely underestimated how strong it is.
What about me?
You had your chance. After everything has completely dried, you can continue by texturing the base. I don't want to actually use sand because it'll throw the scale all off. Instead, I use baking soda. I add it to my black primer Mod Podge mix. Now usually I just jump over to the pictures when it comes to the painting process, but I won't be doing that today. I'm going to be painting a whole bunch of these in a colorful style, but I will also be doing some washes just to test out what they look like. Since I was a little kid, I had a knack for escaping reality. Everything was so much happier and so much brighter than reality. I think that's one of the main reasons why when I go back to these projects or when I'm painting these projects, I make them look quote-unquote cartoony. I decided to paint this first shell with purple, black, and magenta. I do a little bit of wet blending in between the colors. I try not to spread the black too much into the purple. I see a few spots of yellow in the shell already and like the way it looks in the magenta and in the purple. Yellow and purples look amazing together when you can pull them off since they're opposite colors. The last step is to dry brush an off-white color to highlight all those details Mother Nature has already provided for us. This is one of the main reasons why I wanted to do the project in the first place. I hope you notice that the details on the first shell are a bit subtle and soft while remaining colorful. If you want to maintain the intensity of the colors, instead of using an off-white alone, mix it with your magenta. That's just in case you want to keep a colorful look. In this next shell, I made it more black, but this time, the black won't be on the spikes. I also apply the colors on thicker than the first one. When I dry brush it, the details are more noticeable because of how much stronger the colors underneath the dry brushing are. Let's make things simpler, since this is a build for all DMs. You don't need to do any of that colorful stuff that I usually do. You can just simply use washes. Wash paint is your best friend as a crafter. Remember how I said I like the details Mother Nature had already provided for us? Whoa. I'm not about to make the same joke twice. If you want to know what that's all about, check out the last video. And if you want to cringe at my sense of humor, subscribe. Let's get back on track. Washes are amazing. They're so amazing, it's actually making me a better sculptor. Yeah, you heard me right. When I'm sculpting, I keep in mind not to have a lot of flat areas, because those are the hardest places for me to paint. Adding texture to these areas helps me avoid a future headache when I'm trying to paint. I'll use a few different washes and maybe a few different color schemes, just to see what color choice I will end up going with at the end. Who knows, I might just use them all. I'm probably gonna end up using them all. Now let's get to painting the sand. I start off with an orange. I let that dry. I debate whether to add a wash at this point, but ultimately decide not to. I figured that the dry brushing step will suffice. I placed the crabs on the beach mat that I made. My other one got ruined. Remember that video I was making? Yeah, they were really throwing it at my face and I ended up damaging it. You live and you learn. I want the colors to blend together. This is one of the reasons why my mats are super plain. Yo, real quick tip here. If you want to make things belong, make it look more natural, think about reflective light and how shiny the sand at the beach is and how some of that color is going to reflect off onto your piece. Yo, another quick tip. You don't want to base everything. Some of these things are going to be at the beach, on the shore. You don't even have to make a base. Plus, if you plan to use these things to ambush your players, these are perfect because the ones without base will be the ones that will make your players paranoid. Is there a monster hiding under there? Is there somebody hiding under there? Yeah, keep them on their toes. One of the issues that I have noticed while crafting is that I stop way too early. When I do that, I miss out on small details I could be adding. Like this sea star right here. From now on, whenever I think I'm done, I'll think of at least one more thing to add, you know, small details. When crafting the sea stars, I make sure to make a whole bunch of them at the same time. I cut out a stamp out of cardboard and get to stamping them on the clay. Then I cut them out. It could have been an easier way to do this, but you live and you learn. When you're done cutting them, make sure that everything looks nice and smooth. And then with some sanding paper, make sure everything's not nice and smooth and texture the surface. I was in a rush, so I threw them in the oven to dry the clay. I should have primered it before painting it.
You live and you learn.
I go with red and pink. If I had primered it white first, the colors would be a lot brighter. Let's glue it using tacky glue again. I bet you're looking at the time on the video and wondering, when is he gonna show us how to craft the other stuff? I'm actually not gonna show you how to do that part. For this episode, I just want to show you what I learned from the material and show you some stuff I was able to come up with. I want you to apply what you've learned and make something from that. I like to think that an artist is a problem solver. I don't want to give you all the answers. I want you to solve some of the problems yourself. After all, I want you to be creative and I want you to find your visual voice. I think the amount of knowledge I have learned from starting the channel is 50-50. 50 comes from experimenting while crafting, and the other 50 comes from the community. I have learned so much about painting from the audience, it's ridiculous. Now go make your own shell terrain. Thank you so much for your time, and thanks again to the Patreons, of course. I'm getting used to doing announcements at the end of the video, so I guess this is the announcement for this video. I'm entering the Tabletop Crafters Guild, Build Off. Yeah, I said it right, I think. The challenge is to make a monster this time around, and I felt like it was just perfect for me, right? I'm entering, I was gonna do a video on it, but it was almost impossible to show you how I got from point A to point B because I was just so all over the place. The process wasn't linear, so it's not video friendly. The video would have been forever long, you know? Although I'm not gonna show you how I made that monster specifically, I will show you the techniques that I used to make that monster. That way I don't do part 1 and part 2 and part 3 because I don't know. I just don't like doing that. I don't know why. So instead I'm gonna show you how to make different monsters, and then you apply that knowledge and make your own monster. Sort of what I did today, with showing you a little bit of how to work with the shells, but the main craft, I didn't show you how to do that. I'm hoping I've provided you with enough knowledge for you to actually make it. Just have a reference, you know, not an actual step-by-step how to build this. Just this is how I work with the material kind of video. But I'll still be making something from it. So we're still gonna get monsters or stuff. You know what I'm saying? Thank you again for the 4th time I think in this episode. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.